Yeah.
There's some.
Oops.
Bob,
Yeah.
Bob is like so instantaneous.
Yeah. Well, he's raising his hand.
Yeah, I just promoted him.
Hello, Amos. How are you? You're muted.
So Peter, if Joanne doesn't join us, if you want to let everyone know that Kathy would be acting as a full member.
Yep. Good idea. Okay, let's start this up. Welcome to the Monday, November 20th, 2023 meeting of the Easton Planning and Zoning Board. This meeting is being held remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board commission members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards quorum. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on ECAT. To use Zoom, you will need to use a link on the agenda or download the Zoom application and create an account. While conducting meetings remotely, we'll endeavor to keep the meeting operations as close to our standard procedures as possible. However, use of this platform will necessitate some additional meeting protocols. While the board members or commissioners and applicants will be on video and audio, public participants will join the webinar as attendee, meaning they are muted and with no video feed from them. During the public testimony portion of the meeting, members of the public can be recognized by using the raised hand function found under participants from Zoom, or make a request with the Q&A function. If you are joining only by phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand. Some additional items of information are available on page 2 of the meeting agenda, available on the town website under calendar. So we'll start out with a roll call. Wolf, are you present?
Present.
Kid?
Present.
Kadam?
Here.
Dustin?
Present.
Deshane, present. First item, Stephanie, do we have any, are all these items happening today, or are there any?
Yes, I don't think we've received any requests to continue.
Okay, in that case, we'll start with 260 Massapog Ave special permit estate lot. Michael O'Shaughnessy. We have not opened this public hearing. Oh no, we opened this public hearing last time, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I was thinking of
Yeah.
something else. All right. So let's promote whoever needs to be promoted. It looks like Matt is raising his hand.
Right, but I think Matt is in a butter.
Neighbor, yeah, okay. All right, Matt, we'll get to you after the applicants have time to give us an update. Hello, welcome. Please introduce yourself and state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. My name is Michael O'Shaughnessy. I'm the attorney for the applicant. My office is in Middleborough, Massachusetts. I'm here for the estate lot hearing. But before we begin, I see Joanne was sitting on this hearing the last time. Is she not attending tonight?
Yes, yeah, that's a good reminder that Joanne is not in attendance right now. So Kathy Kidd, our alternate member, will be acting as a full voting member, but you're asking about quorum here, or how much time? How many
Right, Mr. Stetson wasn't here at the last hearing, so if he's filed his Mullins affidavit, I'm happy to get going.
Oh.
I did not file it yet, but I plan to.
Okay.
Does that work for you?
Sure. The last time we were here, Mr. Chairman, we had presented a plan. I can upload the plan. If I can share the screen, please.
You should be able to do that.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to try this.
Yep, so far so good.
Is the plan up?
Your files are, we're in the folder.
There
So you
we
might
go.
not have, did you share the whole screen, like the option on
It-
the left?
Do you see it now? It's on my screen.
No, no, so you need to stop sharing, then share again, and then make sure to share your entire screen, not just one window.
Okay, I'll try this. I apologize. How about now?
Yes.
All right. So just to bring the board back to the project again, we're proposing a state lot back here, lot 2. This is an existing gravel driveway. It services 2 lots, 262 and 264R in the rear. Number 262 has an easement over this portion, as does the 264 in the rear. When we were last here, we were asked to put a 20-foot wide vegetated buffer, and we've added that to the plan back here. This abutter here had asked for some screening, so we'll maintain the existing 20-foot buffer to provide some screening between the 2 properties. I think the last time the board was going to go out and inspect the site. Again, this was a pre-existing driveway. We did not file a special permit application for a common driveway because this was pre-existing. And the board is going to go investigate, and I can that's about it as far as I have to present to the board tonight. So I'm happy to answer any questions you folks may have.
Stephanie, did you have any updated comments?
Well, in my original staff report, I mentioned that I thought there were 3 lots that were already served by this gravel drive, and that the gravel drive, it really isn't a road. It's not a named road. It seems to serve as a driveway to the abutting lots on the, I believe it's the northerly side of the property. And I had, so there was a question about whether this was creating an additional nonconformity by adding a 4th lot to the common drive to be served by this. I'm using the small case common driveway because it doesn't benefit from a special permit common driveway issued by the board in the past. So subsequently, I spoke with Mr. O'Shaughnessy about this. He had mentioned at the meeting that he had taken into consideration whether this was a common driveway or not, and had come to a conclusion it wasn't. I wanted to know what his thinking was on that. And in part, he let me know that, and I'm going to mark this up, that this lot right here, which I thought would be served, I didn't realize that it was developed already. This lot actually extends a ways to the west and then fronts onto Massapog Ave itself, and has frontage on Massapog Ave, and is developed with a home that's served by a driveway off Massapog Ave. So really, it would just be the 3 lots that are shown here. And Mr. O'Shaughnessy talked at the last meeting about the easements, the right-of-way easement rights that the other properties benefit from through their deeds. So in that instance, I didn't feel it was creating a greater nonconformity, but I would ask, and I didn't add this to my report, I'm looking at it now, I meant to as part of the discussion that the board, I don't remember if copies of the deeds showing that those easements existed was provided, but the board may want to ask for those.
Right, and just remind us, which lot actually owns the road with the easements on it?
It's the house that's in,
It'd
The
be
estate.
proposed lot 2, so the common driveway and easement is over the lot 2 property.
Mhm. And is that, this is a common, way to provide frontage for a lot is through an easement over your own land?
No, we have adequate frontage to comply with
Mm-hmm,
the estate lot up here.
Right.
We satisfy that.
mm-hmm,
For some reason, 262, I don't know why. That driveway, I think since the house was built, is always accessed off the common drive. And the house off to the rear, again, that was
It
was
exists
created
there.
long before
right,
I
okay.
was here,
Mhm.
so.
Gotcha. Okay, do the other board members have any, questions on this? I know a few people weren't here the last time we discussed it.
We were supposed to check with council. I don't know if town council give an opinion on this, if this driveway is adding non-conformity.
so I did not check in with town council. Again, it's based on the right-of-way easements that benefit the other properties. I mean, clearly, this property benefits, the subject property benefits from the gravel driveway, and it passes over that property.
No, other board members, did you have any, questions or comments here? Well, while they might gather their comments, so I think we talked about, having a, like a dedicated water line for this new, home from the street. Is that acceptable, for the applicant?
Yeah, we have no issue with the condition that this property is supposed to be serviced by its own water
Yep.
service.
Okay, and then the improvement of the driveway, the common drive, or whatever, the improvement of the road, is that depicted on the plan here, or?
Yeah. Basically, we're maintaining the existing roadway that's there. It goes from Massapog Ave, where you see my arrow flickering around, down to this right about here. Our new portion would just be right here.
Who is responsible for maintaining this road?
Well, right now, they're the two people who are using it. They maintain it themselves.
If there will be any conflict by adding the additional load to this, about who is really taking care of the road?
So that's part of the struggle here, where this is pre-existing. If it was a perfect world, I would probably file a special permit for a new common driveway and get everyone to acquiesce to it. I've reached out to the two property owners at 262 and 264. I spoke with the gentleman here. He was interested in potentially doing something, because I think he was maintaining it from here to his driveway. From this driveway down this way, these people here, I'm assuming they're maintaining it on their own. I've never heard back from the 246R people. So where it's already existing, in my opinion, any special permit was not required, because it was an existing driveway. If the board really wanted us to, we could probably put a driveway that would parallel this, that would serve as just this lot. The problem with doing it is we'd lose the stone walls here and here, and some trees. And I don't, again, I know the board likes to keep stone walls, and we prefer to keep the stone walls. So that's our other option, is to put in a second driveway and leave this here, and the two property owners can continue to maintain their rights over this as they deem fit. But right now, it's if you're using it, you're maintaining it.
So
No.
Peter, can I ask for a clarification?
Yes, please.
So, Mike, you had reached out to see if the other two property owners would be interested in formalizing the common driveway, and then what would follow after that would be some type of homeowners agreement on the maintenance of the common driveway itself.
Yeah, that would have been the cleanest way to get around this issue, but if I can't get abutters to cooperate, I can't go that way.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, given that the subject property actually owns the access in the first place, I mean, that would, to an extent, they'd be responsible for maintaining their own access to their own house, right? But yeah, okay.
Right,
Um,
right.
Now, what about like kind of improving that road, like to like the width that's displayed on the plan here, so that it's, there's a little more.
So if you recall, Mr.
Possibility of
Chairman,
cars
this
passing.
right here was the only issue. We have the 12 feet all the way down, and if you apply the common driveway the technicality and specs, they want 3 feet of clearance on either side. We have 3 feet of clearance except for this little area here
Okay.
where the stones are only a foot high, maybe 18 inches. I don't quite remember, but there's adequate clearance for vehicles to come down the roadway.
Okay, let's see. There are no other board member comments right now. I think there was at least one. hand raised.
Just a couple, and I apologize if this is repetitive, Mr. O'Shaughnessy. There'll be 4 homes that are now abutting this roadway.
Yeah, so well, for this location here, there will be no access to this driveway here. There can be no access if you folks wanted to put a condition that prevented any future access unless we return to if we went to the ZBA for some relief, I'd be okay with it. As a practical matter, I believe there's a big wetland system up this way, so I don't think it's physically possible to access this common drive. House number 256 here, its actual access is from its paved driveway off of Massapog. I do acknowledge they have some easement rights right here as well, as does number 262, which is right here, as well as 264. I don't know, this lot back here was created, I think, 1956 or thereabouts, so whatever they did back then, this way here, if you look at the older deeds, I think there was a road to Sharon. I don't know if it went, it'd have to go along this direction. That's what it's referenced in the deed, so I don't know.
And in terms of I'm sorry, that was helpful. And in terms of the estate lot, where is the frontage? The frontage is not that roadway.
The estate lot, and it's tough to see from this plan. This is a large lot, but the property line comes down this way. It goes along here, it flares out, and then our frontage is up here. And then the property line comes back this way and down the roadway here.
Oh, I see. So it's all the way. All right. So it's
all the way.
Massapog.
Yes, it's all the way up to Massapog.
All right. Yeah, I
Right.
appreciate that. All right.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay, Stephanie, let's promote anyone if there's any public comments here.
Yep, let's see, Matt Raffold.
Very close, yes. Rayfeld, thank you.
Hello, just please, well, okay, we know your name. Please state your address for the record.
Sure, it's actually James Rayfeld, 262 Massapog. So I'm on the bottom of this map here.
Mhm.
And just had 2 questions. One of those kind of goes back to that maintenance side of things. As the person that's been, engaged in the maintenance of this easement so far since I've lived here, just kind of trying to figure out who's going to be responsible for that moving forward, especially as we get construction vehicles going up and down through here, trying to replace the gravel. I've never seen Zola and yeah, Mr. O'Shaughnessy's right. We talked earlier. I invited Mr. Zola to, you know, come by and talk about it and never heard back from him. So that's going to be my first question. And then my second is, well, I'll let you finish that one first. So why don't can I get that answered first, or would you rather me give both questions at once?
We can go one at a time, that's fine.
All right. So I guess who's going to be responsible for this? If we can get a better clarification on that, that would be appreciated. You know, we're willing to work with them as long as they actually get back in touch with us.
Right, so that would involve we'd have to
That's a
involve
question.
the other property owner, right, at the.
Yeah, and the 264 is selling their house, so I'm not really sure exactly. You know, I know that she's had multiple engagements with the Zola family. You know, I think that's what caused her to move. So they're moving, so there's not really much engagement from them, but I'd like to see, you know, if there is a plan, what that plan might be for the maintenance of this
Yeah, maybe,
roadway.
I don't know, Mr. O'Shaughnessy, do the deeds or any of the easement recordings like have anything?
The only
Yeah.
language in the deeds is a right of way, for 264. It's a right of way over the existing, I don't have it in front of me, the old way to Massapog is how it's described. It doesn't describe who's maintaining what or with whom. Similarly, this gentleman's easement, it's a right of way to use this portion of the roadway for all purposes in which roadways are used in the town of Easton. That's it. So it's a right of access.
Mhm.
To answer the maintenance, obviously, if the roadway, the gravel roadway is disturbed while construction is underway, I'd have no issue with the condition in the permit that says my client is responsible for maintaining and restoring the roadway if it's damaged during construction. I have
Right,
no
and
issue
really,
with that
in
at all.
practicality, I mean, you're adding another interested, hopefully homeowner that at the end of the road who wants to have, you know, safe, reasonable access to their home, right? So in a way, it's sort of improving the situation, at least as, you know, based on probability wise, at least, right? Yeah, it's not a guarantee, but.
Right, and as far as Mr. Rayfeld, again, I'm happy to have a conversation with him offline and Mr. Zola to see if there's something that could be worked out, at least between these two parties. I mean, his concern would be from here anyways, I understand that. But I have no issue having an offline conversation and seeing if we could come to some agreement with respect to it.
Okay, great, thanks. And then my second question is, how does this impact the ability for the Zola Trust? And if you look at where that yellow line is, it goes parallel to my house. You know, that opening actually leads out. And if you look at what they submitted in the 260 Massapog ANR plan, you can see in the detailed drawings that there's a lot of space back there that could be built up that appears as though that's kind of the next step for the Zola Trust. And I have a concern about having a roadway on 3 sides of my house. You know, I'm starting to look like that person down the road in Sharon where roads can kind of pop up all around your home. So I just wanted to check and see if this, you know, changing this from a shared driveway to whatever we're changing it to, if that allows them to open it up even more back behind there.
So, Mr. Chairman, as I said initially, I'd be happy with a restriction, a condition of the permit saying there's no access to this roadway here through this sliver of land. I have no issue with that. I wouldn't want to foreclose it forever. If there was if I had to go to get a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals, I'd be happy to do that. The plan right now is never to access the roadway. And I think if we were to ever try to make this access, we'd have to come back to you and have our special permit modified anyways, because your condition in this permit would say no access through this unless we get a variance, and we'd have to come back to you to get the special permit modified anyway.
But then, but does that, yeah, but right, but does that lot have like deeded access for that, for the driveway?
Well, hang on, let me.
Because then it feels
see if
like,
I
how can
can-
we make a condition that like completely that takes that away from them?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
is that that's doable? I
So,
mean,
Peter, could I weigh in on that?
Yeah.
I mean, if ever the plan was to use that gravel drive for access to that parcel,
Mhm.
that would be in my mind, it would be a formal subdivision, and the road would need to be constructed to subdivision standards.
Yep, that's how I felt too. I just wasn't quite.
Yeah.
Yes, I think Stephanie, that's a good point, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know that assuages Mr. Rayfeld's concerns, but
It would, yes.
And again, as a practical
Thank you.
matter, I think there's a little wetland back here anyway, so realistically, it wouldn't make sense to come down to try to get access there, especially if there's frontage on Maspog already, so.
Does that help you, Mr. Rayfeld?
It does, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Mhm.
Mr. O'Shaughnessy.
Thanks.
So I have two questions, Mr. Chair. One
Mhm.
is, it appears that this driveway that is common to all these properties can, in the future, and not the people that live there now, but even in the future when people sell their houses to someone else, come to conflict. And is that something that makes sense to think that it can be conflict because of the common drag? And what is the liability of us approving this driveway if such a conflict emerge in the future? This is
Like without a maintenance, yeah, I mean, like without like
Yeah,
a plan. for
right,
maintenance.
right. What I'm saying is, what is our liability? This is a question for the lawyers on this. On this
I
matter.
kind of feel, I sort of feel like the way it's gonna work out, I'm not sure, but is that since we're kind of looking at a unique situation here and we're making some accommodations to allow what looks like is gonna be a, pretty valuable home, that it might just ultimately be that new valuable home, is the ultimate, party responsible for the maintenance of the road.
And that's the way it could end up being anyways. Like I
Mhm.
said, if you live back here and you want to get to your driveway, you're gonna want to have a nice road, you're gonna plow it, so.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
This gentleman up front will benefit by that, so.
And the fact that the 1 out of 3 doesn't really respond doesn't really negate anything else. It's just a matter of yes. So it just seems like we'll make it better, and if we make the new home responsible for it because it's their land, then it'll just be better than it already is. I think, unless.
You mean if we put this as a condition on our decision
Yeah,
when we
so
vote?
it
we
would be a
put that
condition of
as
a
a
decision
condition.
that the property owner, right? Yeah. Is
So we
responsible
have
for maintaining that. Yeah.
we have now two conditions. One is that property there, one of them will not have access to this road.
Yep.
And the second one is that the new lot will be responsible for the road. Okay,
Yeah, and a single a dedicated water line for the new property, right?
Yeah.
That's what we have so far. Do those seem reasonable to you, Amos?
Yeah.
So now, given that Rob has not filed his Mullen rule form, do we want to just keep everything open for another meeting? Is that Stephanie, that's the best plan here?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, given that he hasn't filed his Mullins affidavit yet, or his statement, I think it makes sense before any vote, just to continue it. I think it'll be, hopefully it's a quick, short meeting the next time we get to it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. We should have caught that. So
yeah, I mentioned something else on the previous meeting, and I don't know if we need to consult with the DPW about this driveway facing the entrance to, or the service entrance, if you will, to Borderland Park there, and if there is any issue here with traffic that requires some signing. Just a consultation with DPW will solve that problem if needed. If not, it
might be good. Yeah, we asked for input, right? So we didn't hear anything from the fire department. We didn't have any objections, so we're not gonna. But you're right. I mean, we could double check with them just to.
Yeah, we should bring DPW and the fire department into this and ask for their opinion and blessing.
I don't, from memory, in Stephanie, if I'm incorrect, please let me know. I don't think DPW or the fire department had any issue with the plan as presented.
That's what I was getting at. They didn't have any comments, right? So they'd be attached
Right.
right now.
Right. And I guess the question is, what kind of signage are you talking about?
Stop sign.
Yeah, usually they don't weigh in on whether a stop sign is required or not.
Right.
The
A
DPW.
stop sign would have been, it's not a bad, I mean, we could just say, put a stop sign on the plan because this is a road serving, a few
Yeah.
homes.
I
We're
mean,
gonna,
if you want a stop sign on our side right here,
Mhm.
I'm happy to.
we're
to
gonna
pull
have
it
a
up.
conventional 3-lot coming up in a few minutes, and there's gonna be a stop sign at the end of the road. It's just the way, it's the way,
Right.
the practice that we
Right.
use, to have people put a stop sign on a road usually.
I think, but I do think Amos raising the question of signage brings up another question, which is, and you have an existing property there, an existing house. If there's a public safety emergency, making sure that the fire department understands that there are multiple houses back there. But again, they didn't comment on that, so maybe their presumption is they already know that you have the one back there, and if. But and this is an R address, and we'll retain that R address, right? When I say it, like 272R.
Right.
Is it a problem to ask again and say, you guys really look at this?
I'm sorry.
Is it a problem to ask again?
No, it's not. I think that, I do think that making sure that the address, there might be some indication at the head of the roadway that
There are 4 houses.
this is a new right. Well, that there are 3 houses that are being served by the road.
Yeah.
Because right now, that's 260 Massapog, but it's set back. So,
I drove by and you can only see one number.
yeah,
Good question though. Does the Borderland entrance even have a stop sign? I don't think so.
No.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, if other board members want it, I'm not going to argue against it. But
so we want a stop sign. And then, house number signage. At entrance.
okay, that seems good. Unless there's any other board members or there are no more hands raised.
There is I'm sorry, not board members, but we have Christian.
Oh, I just checked the chat. I answered one. It was just Matt wanted, James,
Yeah.
wanted to make sure he could speak.
So we have Christian.
Oh, I don't see
Okay.
it.
Hello.
Yep.
It's
Hello, go
Christian
ahead, Mario.
Picard.
Mhm.
It's Christian Picard, 256 Massapog.
Yes.
Appreciate a lot of this discussion. It's very useful and appreciate the amended
Mhm.
plan with the buffer. I would say, I guess it's tough to visualize on the stop sign thing. I don't know if you're talking about a 4-way stop sign. Just to be clear, that entrance to Borderland is like the service entrance. That's technically, it's blocked off most of the time.
Right. Mhm.
Okay.
My personal opinion is no stop signs needed in that. It's just going to cause more trouble than anything. But that's just my 2 cents. Yeah, I guess I one thing is just trying to think about unintended consequences. So on the driveway, we talked about a water line. I don't know if that would come in from Massapog. I don't know what other utilities, if that's going to involve any trenching or anything like that. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of machinery going back and forth. I mean, obviously there'll have to be a way to. There's no detour to to that road. So whoever's on that street, that'll have to remain passable. I guess that kind of speaks to, I think, what maybe Stephanie was talking about emergencies or just people going back and forth in their daily routines. Just something to consider in the planning process that remains passable with all the work that, you know, potentially could be going on.
Good point.
And I think that's all. All my other questions were addressed in the last meeting, so I appreciate it.
Thanks. All right, is there anyone else before we move on? Okay, we should be, I think we're in good shape for the next meeting coming up to move along with this. So thank you for coming in, Mr. O'Shaughnessy.
When would it be continued to, Mr. Chairman?
Let's take a look at the schedule. I think
December 4th is the next meeting.
are you available that evening?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there a motion to continue?
Motion to continue 260 Massapequa Avenue Special Permit State Lot to December 4th.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Wolf.
Okay, all in favor? Kadam,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Stetson,
Aye.
Kidd.
Aye.
And DeShane, aye. Okay, see you at December 4th.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your
Thanks.
Thanksgiving off.
Have a good night.
Bye now.
You too.
Okay, we have another continued public hearing, 523 Foundry Street, special permit, mixed use WJA Property Development LLC. Let's see, we have James Burke here, Stephanie Matt still promoted if can let him relieve him from his promotion. Okay.
Wait just for a second.
Okay, whoever would like to start it off, please state your name and address for the record, and I would appreciate it if someone could be ready to share their screen to show us any plans that you might have.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you. Walter Hermano, professional engineer. I'm at 6 Thomas Road. I'm the engineer for Mr. Adams tonight. Pleased to meet everyone on the board. Thank you for hearing us. I can jump right into sharing the screen if you'd like. We also have with us tonight Mr. Adams and Mr. Burke.
Yeah, thanks. Just formality wise, Stephanie or Suzanne, do we have was everyone at the last all the meetings for this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I checked that.
Great. Okay. Go ahead.
All right, can everyone see the plaza at the Foundry in front of you?
Yes.
All right. We have submitted a full site plan for this project. We have a mixed use within the Furnace Village Depot Street sub-district. The existing use of the property, sheet 2, is a dentist office. The building takes up 3% impervious on the lot, and the remaining impervious from pavement is 18%. The remainder of the lot is grass and/or woods basically to the rear. Existing trees along this sideline over here. To the right, you see soil tables. I'll get to those in a second. Here we have our proposed layout. The building is 65 by 125. It is 8,125 square feet. It's 3 stories in height, up to a maximum of 37 feet. We've designed an entrance on the left, 2-way traffic going around the entire building. We have parking all around the building. The parking is 42 spaces total, 2 of them being handicap designated van spaces. The standard, the requirements that is 37. And I see we don't have our zoning table over here on the right. But that was a comment that Stephanie made, and that will be added back into the plan. We had it previously, it must have been on a layer that we didn't recognize. But I can assure you it meets all the zoning requirements for this district. The entrance is selected on the left because on the right, in between the building and the road, we have to put the infiltration, which is capturing all the runoff from the pavement, treating it, and providing the required infiltration. In between the building and the property line over on the east side is another infiltration basin, which is capturing all the runoff from the roof. If I may go to the next sheet.
Peter,
Yes, you may. Yes, Stephanie?
can we ask Walter to zoom in just a little bit so that there's a little more visible detail?
Yeah, Walter, please zoom in a little bit so there's a little more visible detail there.
Is that better?
Good.
Okay. I'll explain a little bit in detail the two infiltration basins, but you can see right here, we have several sharp contours, 3 to 1% slope. This is why the entrance had to be, and it could only be on the left-hand side of the property. This layout was approved by the fire department after submitting it to them back in September. Sheet 4, this is the auto turn, truck turn analysis, which we demonstrated to the fire department that they could come in and they could exit the property.
So have you already met with the fire department? Is that where
Yeah.
this has come from?
Yes, sir. In addition to submitting it to them, I actually went to them and we spoke, and they had approved this plan back, I believe the date was September 13th, this layout. On this sheet, this is drainage and grading. We have catch basins at the front, at the entrance. We have catch basins scattered about the parking lot. This is to adequately capture the runoff directed through pipe end to drain manholes, and eventually to one infiltration basin right here that I described, IB1. It has a separator row. Besides the catch basins removing sediments, we also have a separator row, which is a row of chambers covered by filter fabric that allows us 97% total suspended solids removals before it's actually infiltrated into the ground. To the right, IB number 2 is a little bit smaller infiltration basin, which is just for the roof. The roof runoff does not require any TSS removal. Both these systems exceed all the state requirements and the town requirements for stormwater, both on quality and recharge. Also, as I've alluded, all the paved surfaces are being captured on this property, this proposed development. The outlet will be right down here for one of the basins, and the outlet for the other one is right there. The water has a tendency to flow across the site right now, left to right, down to this area, which was a design point. And it will continue to flow that way, but it will not be at any greater peak volume or rate than what currently is leaving the property. There's a smaller area on this side right here that is not captured by the pavement, and also around the back, outside of the berm. But this area will drain out to the same design point. And this area to the left will go just as it was before onto Foundry Street. It's a very minor and small flow, but again, less than what's already leaving the property. We have added 2 walls around this outdoor patio dining area. This is in case automobile traffic were to come too close to the pedestrians that might be dining out on these corners. Excuse me. The other quadrants up here are landscaped, as well as one in the middle. We'll get to the landscape and plan at the end. Here we have our utility plan. We have proposed water, both domestic and for fire suppression right here. We have a gas conduit that is somewhere out in the street that hasn't been located yet. The building will also be serviced with natural gas from the street. We have an 8-inch sewer line picked up from an existing stub right here through this manhole into the entire building. On the left side of the plan, we're gonna, it's up to the electric company, but we estimate that from across the road here, we're gonna have an aerial crossing to a new pole set in this front left corner. It'll go to a transformer and then into the utility room inside the building. All this is very tentative and has a lot to do with where the electric company tells us the power is coming into the property. You can also see to the rear, we have dumpster pads proposed off of the paved surface. This could accommodate 2 dumpsters, both the left and right side. Given the 4 to 5 retail units and 11 residential dwelling units in the building, we feel those 4 dumpsters would be sufficient. We also have 2 pedestrian walkways, access routes coming from the main road. This one comes right into this outdoor patio area. And this one on the left side, they're both 5 feet wide. That one actually crosses through this fire lane. And then, by the way, there's a fire lane in the front and back of the property. I have reviewed the plan that Stephanie provided to us. Thank you, Stephanie. It was a 10% completion so far from the Mass Highway Department regarding the expansion of, and improvements rather, on Foundry Street. And I did find that there might be a slender 1 to 2 feet of taking from this corner, coming down to almost nothing on this corner. And they do have sidewalks that are proposed. I think Stephanie has alluded to that before. So this walkway right here, this does terminate right now at the curb. And it will be in the future connected to a sidewalk that Mass Highway is supposed to install. This proposed walkway, given the slope, there'll also be steps as necessary. We have snow removal areas proposed in the corners. I may go to the next sheet.
Yeah, just on this one though, are you showing the, right now you're showing the existing, property line where the road is, right?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, so it'll be like 1 to 2 feet from along that, the bottom right of this, the
Right. Currently, per their 10%
south side. Mhm.
plan, it may be 1 to 2 feet right down in this corner, where there's a taper down to what appears to be 0. No taken right down here in this corner.
Okay, are there any questions on board members here? Just while we're kind of flipping through things rather than going back. No, okay, yep, keep on going, please. You may flip to the next page.
Yeah, this sheet is a utility plan, but this shows erosion and sedimentation controls about the property. We have a construction entrance right here, excuse me. Proposed stockpiles will be hay baled as needed. We have a dewatering pit, and we also have a temporary sediment basin, again, at the low point in the property where the water is going to want to travel. It'll collect there first before going through the erosion control, sedimentation control. Proposed staging areas up here. We have equipment that will be on site. You'll see construction parking right here in the front. Again, this is very tentative, but this is my best estimate as to how they're going to set up on the property.
Did you mention what the snow accumulation will be with plowing?
Yeah, I think there was snow storage on kind of like the corners, at least in the rear, and then over to the right, I think.
Yeah, yes, that is correct. We have one proposed in this corner. Basically all 4 corners of the property.
Right, you can usually push back a little bit, like over, like onto like the green, the green area too, so.
And here we have a landscape plan provided by Mr. Adams Landscaper. I noticed in the comments, Stephanie had a couple of suggestions that the plants were not truly native. We will definitely make any required changes to the landscaping in order to accommodate and make sure the plants are truly native species. There can be some small trees added to the rear of the property. We also have a stockade fence proposed in the back, given this is only 5-foot separation in the back of the property. We can add a few trees or bushes around the dumpster pads to further reduce any possible noise as a buffer between them and the neighbors.
Yeah, can you just do some more work on that with Stephanie, just to kind of improve that landscaping a little bit? Looks pretty minimal.
Yeah, we'd be glad to. And here we have just standard detail sheets, erosion control, signage, parking, construction entrance, fencing around dumpster pad. Planting schedule, utility duct banks, catch basins, drain manholes, sewer manholes, roof drains. Trying to cover all our bases, lighting. We also have lighting proposed on the project. I've estimated where the lights will go across the project. I'll show you that in 1 second. And the last sheet, this is a sheet. I'll zoom out of this for a little bit.
Are the lights dark sky?
Yes, sir, they should be.
Yeah, have you put together a photometric plan yet? Are we getting there, or do you need, is that still on the things to do?
We have not yet, sir. I didn't understand that that was required at this point, but we are working on it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and this is the proposed drainage. Nice feature about this. Again, this thing's called an isolator row. It accepts a low flow during the low storm events, the 2-year and under. So most of the water that carries all the heavy solids goes through this first row of chambers and it gets filtered out. The high flow, which is cleaner water, then makes its way to the remaining chambers. I can go back to the beginning. Regarding lighting, I'm trying to find the best sheet that shows that. Don't have a perfect one to show the lighting, but I have explained, tried to show, we have lights proposed. I'll go through them, one here, 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 and here for parking lot lighting.
While we're here, can you just remind us, what's like around the building? Is that just like a concrete walkway?
Yes, we have a 5-foot concrete walkway proposed around the entire building. That's correct.
Is it
This is
possible to add like, plantings like integrated into that walkway, or is 5 feet just not enough? Or are there plans for that?
Could you say that again, please?
Oh, it seems like 5-foot walkway is kind of like a standard like walkway width. I mean, have you considered adding, some sort of plantings somewhere around that building?
I would if I could, but with this size layout of the building and requires setbacks for all the parking and setbacks to the property lines, we're hemmed in pretty tight.
Right, you have 5 feet, so it'd be like the most you could do is like a foot, which isn't even enough for like for anything. Yeah.
Those safety walls for the sitting areas, can those be planters too?
I was going to say you could do something there, right? Yeah, even like.
That's
So
a good point.
Those walls could have some planters. So I mean, you can put some vegetation there.
No, that's an excellent point. Right now, it's proposed to be about a 3-foot tall wall just for safety, but we could put a planter on top of that.
Yeah.
Planters.
Yeah, it's asking for it. Our discussion in last meeting was make this very aesthetic, pleasant to the eye, as much as you can, and that will add to the aspect of this building. I think it will make it more attractive, especially for the business.
Mhm. Yeah, that was the concept there, since we made some concessions about what we thought might be a better layout, but you wanted the driveway all around, right? So we should keep on that theme as we continue to consider this.
Yeah,
as
and,
another-
and Peter, if I could, I think Amos's point was very well taken. You can drive around different outdoor patios, different restaurants that have outdoor patios, and they actually have planters incorporated into that.
That was right. Mhm. Yep, yeah, they look good. Yeah, so maybe if you don't have it available right now, you could since you're gonna consider the planters for those, you could maybe actually get some photos of something existing that you think you might be able to kind of match something, find something nice and find an example of it and show it to us, please.
Yeah, we could definitely improve and make it more pleasing with plantings.
Yeah.
In the front and the left of the corners of the building. We could
Yeah, that
definitely.
landscape wise in general. What about the rear? What about the two rear corners? What do you have there right now?
There's vegetation proposed in both of those corners.
Yeah.
As well as this little breakup right here in these parking spaces.
Mhm.
If I could go to the,
I mean, that might just be nice for someone that lives there to at least have a spot to put a chair and just kind of hang out outside, right? So I mean, it's not great, but it's something. No, I guess the corners have some space too, right?
here, this shows the greenery around these corners right here. I've not shown any greenery around the front, right and left, but we can work on that.
Yeah.
Also, I believe to Amos's point, if I could also share with you the renderings, which demonstrate making the project look a little more pleasing.
Yeah, I want to mention something else. I have seen it done. Is sometime on these areas, the one we're talking about now, the sitting areas, is there is sometime like a structure on top, like a pergola type of that I don't know what is the objective because they don't give too much shade, but they look nice. I have seen them done, especially restaurants do that.
Sir, were you talking about pergolas inside the front and left, right corners?
Yes, yeah. You rise up and you put kind of a wooden structure, if you will, for aesthetical reason. Take a look and see if you.
Yeah, like the House of Possibilities has a nice something pretty nice back there. Maybe I'm not saying the copy theirs. Theirs is a little bit larger, but yeah.
I won't put that as a condition, but I think you will be interested in make it attractive because that will bring the businesses to the first floor, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But the dumpsters, you have dumpsters in both corners, right? One's commercial, one's residential.
I'm not sure if it's been decided yet which ones are which, but there'll be 4 dumpsters between the left and right side total.
Okay, so then they will be side by side, right? No.
Yes, there'll be 2 in each one.
Just because with the condos back there, when they bang those dumpsters, they do at my work sometimes. It's just so loud. No, I wouldn't want the condo people to have to hear that too often.
I would like to mention something. The sidewalk in front of this is several years in the future. But if you walk through this area, you will see that the sidewalks stop in front of the Gaslight complex. That is actually less than 200 yards from this property. And if I were developing this property, I will try to figure out how can you make a temporary sidewalk that connects to that sidewalk, because that will bring all the customers from 5 corners and from all the area to walk into these businesses. And the only thing you have is one property in between that probably will be interested in having a sidewalk too, because there are businesses on that property too. Just something for you guys to consider as part of the development of this area to extend that sidewalk, those 200 to 300 feet, 300 yards to this property. I think it will benefit this property tremendously. It is not safe on this route to walk on the street, I can tell you that.
Comments noted, and I'll discuss that with my client. Thank you.
Yep. Any of the other board members have any comments while we've kind of been focusing on this page? No? Walter, did you have more pages to show us?
Yes, I do. If I could jump to the conceptuals, the renderings and elevations,
Yes, please proceed.
let me zoom in. We've added some benches in the front here. Per Amos's suggestion, we've got other benches over here and over here. This walkway is not current with the exact site plan. The walkway is truly over here. And there's another one right there. Correction, pedestrian access route. I think it shows a very nice building that Mr. Adams is proposing. We have,
Look, you might actually have a pergola
You
there.
do, yeah,
at the
you do.
entryway.
he
On
does
the-
show a
right, yeah.
pergola. That's
Mhm.
correct. On the front right, in this rendering, there is a pergola.
Yeah.
We also have in the rendering, there's some green plantings. And it looks like on the left side, the wall was set back a little, so the plantings were in the front.
But that wasn't on your plan, right?
That's
What-
correct, right. We need to make those front and left, right corners agree with any schematics and what the board.
So what are you showing to us here? Which one is the plan, or is the plan gonna match this, or is this gonna match the plan?
It's what the board would desire. Because
Okay.
right now it's still being decided.
Yeah, okay, and you have space to put those plantings there? I mean, that's, I'm just trying to,
Yeah, we could pull in this wall 3 feet. And there would still be sufficient space for tables
Mhm.
in both areas. As you can see, this rendering, we do need a wall, we definitely need a wall.
Right.
Because of the traffic coming around the corner.
and you have light posts, are those on the plan? No.
Yeah.
The light post in the front?
Again, these are not in full agreement, it's not a finished lighting,
Okay,
Plan.
right. Mhm.
but there are light posts shown, as I've tried to describe where they would be
Yeah,
around the
okay.
property.
Yeah, so you're still working on some of this, right? Okay.
But the rendering from the point of view of the building, this is how the building is going to be looking exactly, or not?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
And then what about, so at the top, I see the railing, is that just to screen, like the HVAC?
Yes, that was, we added that to give it a kind of a colonial look.
And will like the cooling towers go above that, what is like a 3 or 4 feet? Like a
Well,
3 foot?
That's gonna be, that roof is gonna be flatter on the backside. So the air conditioning units and all of that will be up on that roof.
Mhm. Right, yeah, okay, so they might be
And-
taller than that fence, or whatever, or the railing, whatever we call that thing. Yeah,
This elevation is what I'm planning on that building looking like. I'm tweaking it a little bit each time I give it back to you. I give you a little more with it,
yep.
But- and I'm
Yeah.
working out the details. But
Mhm.
that is basically what I am looking to build.
Could you, I don't know, I'm not sure, I'm not great at this part of it, but, I mean, would like kind of the gable end looking thing, like, could it be like on both sides of that, like that corner there? Like, would that give it like a little more, rather than just that big kind of, that flat dormer, the flat yellow dormer across the top there? I don't know, what does anyone else think? I'm not sure. Just that, I just mean like that side just looks sort of kind of one-dimensional, to me. I don't know. If we
I
have
don't know,
any
I
ideas for
I
that.
kind of think it's got kind of that historic,
Mhm.
it's consistent with a lot of the older homes, I think, in Easton. I mean, I kind of like it,
Okay.
but I'm not wedded to that opinion.
Yep. Your opinion is just as important as mine. Yeah. So no, I think you're right. I was just kind of talking it through there, right? Yeah. So
I think it looks like a lot of the houses we have in Easton. Were nice. It's very nice.
Mhm.
I have a question. Is there any consideration, now looking at the building and the roof, for making this building at least able to receive photovoltaic solar panels for power?
I'll leave that to Bill.
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
The question is photovoltaic solar panels considered for this building?
I can't hear it well.
Oh, he was
Solar-
asking if you considered you putting solar panels maybe on the roof of the
Solar
structure.
panels?
Yeah,
I haven't, I've been actually looking into that for other buildings that I own. I haven't come to any conclusion on it yet. It's a possibility. That would be saving some energy, and it seems to be the thing that's coming in the future. So it could have something like that integrated with it.
the reason I'm mentioning this is because you have such a large area
Yep.
that is free and open to the sun. It's
Right.
almost ideal for that. And I think we should, at this point, consider energy something important in the design of buildings.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, rather than just like rather than just like a black roof, right? I mean, I know they put stone up there and things like that to kind of keep it from heating up too much, but yeah, and I think kind of like the detail you've shown on the on like the different levels where like it looks kind of like you can like sort of like see a real soffit, right? And then like you can see that white strip over the green. So hopefully you can kind of continue with that as you kind of refine your designs there.
The freeze board right here,
Mhm.
sir.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that is a nice touch.
I mean, it looks nice on the computer screen. Hopefully, it looks nice when we see the ultimate plans and you build it. So yeah.
Thank you.
Are the colors representative, more or less?
The colors are, we went through a bunch of different colors, and those are the colors I picked because they're kind of blend in with the green space and the natural look. I'm into that look, and I have some other buildings similar to that, and that's the colors I kind of settled on.
It looks very nice. I
Thank you.
really like it.
Yeah, it's soft, it's not something like just all, like some of these buildings are all gray or they're all brown. I wanted to break it up a little bit.
Yeah, that was neat. Yeah. What about is there a sign location, like is there going to be a freestanding, like one freestanding sign per
I don't know if we have a sign showing on the site plan, but we were looking at that, and I don't know if Walter and I talked about putting it the front in about the center of the property. I'm not sure if that's on one of the plans here.
Yeah, then you have to kind of, well, you have to be careful where wherever when they redo the road, right, where that will end up, but I'm sure you'll consider that.
Right, well, we have not added the sign to the plan yet. Still in discussions with Bill. What the sign will look like, the size and so forth, but we will meet the requirements of the town for signage.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that, that's going to kind of affect the landscaping. So let's kind of get like the, if you don't mind, let's try to get the streetscape kind of pretty, what we see on the plan is what eventually gets built. And the sign's kind of important, right? So I mean, if you can make the sign look nice and we make a nice looking building and a nice looking sign, then maybe that would.
They have to complement each other.
Mm-hmm. All right, so not just a couple of those like metal poles, right? With
no, I don't do that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
But, it does happen. It's not
right.
That those don't exist in town, that's for sure, right? So, yeah, okay. Does anyone else have any comments or questions, or maybe we can open up to the public too if anyone has any questions or would like to speak. Oh, we have
Dale.
customers. All right.
You can trust that.
Hi, Dale Carrister, 21 South Street. I'm just speaking in support of the project. I was very pleased with how Mr. Adams handled and responded favorably to public input on the Aroma Joe's. I'm very excited about the prospect of having some of the commercial businesses on the first floor in that area to basically provide for the kind of village feel that, you know, with mixed use that folks had talked about going back to the visioning charrette many years ago. Well, we understand that it's going to be a while before the sidewalks are put in place and everything. I think there's a lot of excitement in this area about what this area can be like, including hopefully ultimately if town meeting approves the Swift Park project down the road a little bit, and then ultimately with the sidewalks. So I'm very much in favor of the project as presented. Thank you.
Thanks.
Peter, just before we go to the rest of the public, could I quickly go through some of the items that I identified in my report?
Oh, yeah, sorry, we kind of didn't
No,
get to
that's
skip over you this time.
that's
We
quite
just
all
kinda-
right. And I
I like
think
to change the order sometimes, right? Just see what happens. Okay, go ahead.
And I think that I think Walter probably answered a lot of them. So let's see. One of them is that there will be probably a privilege fee for the new development. There will be, and sewer tie-in. So I want to make sure that Mr. Adams is talking to the DPW early in the process about what that would look like, and is well aware of that. I did have asking the applicant about water saving and energy efficiencies that might be proposed. And I think Amos covered some of that with the question about solar panels. That certainly could reduce the emissions of fossil fuel. But again, any water saving measurements, for example, the town, you know, generally doesn't water its own properties and is trying to encourage reduction of water irrigation on site. So I don't know if Mr. Adams has thought about that.
And that's a good reminder, just like in general, that it's some places that some people have been having a lot of trouble getting like the electric company to, you know, put in the new service for these new build outs. So just keep it in mind there, that don't forget to get that in whenever, right, whatever the earliest right time is, that's when you want to do it.
Yeah. And again, Walter mentioned that they need to show the parking table on the plans. We talked about the sign locations, the photometric plan needs to be provided. I appreciate that he talked about adding a tree buffer to help dampen the potential sound associated with the dumpsters.
And it looked like maybe like just Stephanie, when you go over that one, we'll just do some like some evergreen and some deciduous, right? So that in the winter it's not just because the winter is the louder time of year anyways, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yes, yep. And then I noted that the elevations, we need the floor plans showing the dwelling units that they're proposing, and the breakdown of bedrooms. And of course, he's offering 11 units in total, one of those being affordable, and the affordable unit needs to qualify under the local action unit program so that it can be included on the subsidized housing inventory.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, we have Maria Wilson.
Good notes there. All right. Hello, Maria, please state your name and address for the record.
Maria Wilson, 16 South Street. I just
Welcome.
want to say that I think the building looks beautiful. I think it blends in with the historic nature of that whole strip now with the other houses that have just been built. I think the colors fit in, and I'm just going to say I'm very excited to have the potential of the bakery or breakfast place there. And it really looks like it's going to become a walkable community, and that makes me very happy.
Right, thanks, I'm glad. And obviously next time I suggest that another dormer, then everyone can just tell me that that was a bad idea because no one has agreed so far. I'm joking, giving myself a hard time here. So all right, what else do we need to do here? Anything outstanding before I think you have some things that you can bring back, but nothing too hard. How are you doing with that peer review?
That because that is in peer review. currently. And again, what I would suggest, Mr. Hermano, as soon as you receive the first round of review, if we have any questions, we'd like to coordinate a meeting with the consultant so that we can get those resolved as quickly as possible for you.
Yep, well, we'd be glad to, hard copies to be delivered to the peer reviewer. They'll either arrive tomorrow or the next day. And I welcome any comments from the peer reviewer for the stormwater management.
Yeah, Stephanie, for with the changes like for Foundry Street, and I think you know, the applicants talked about, well, you know, the electric surface is going to do whatever they tell us, you know, that's what we have to do. I mean, I know we're not going to have underground utilities on Foundry Street, but you know, some projects have like underground utilities serving like these larger you know, properties. Is that possible before the road's redone again?
So are you asking if they should underground their utilities on site?
Well, I mean, everyone just talk about how they're happy it's going to look nice, and it would look nicer.
Yes.
And
I mean, I guess I kind of expect that when projects are built today, that the utilities on site will, like the electric wires and all of that, especially.
yeah, that's what that just reminded me, right? Because I mentioned the electricity going slow, then I was like, oh well, that's probably because they have to do an underground box. Whereas these guys, you know, you can probably call up National Grid, they'll get to, you know, do the overhead in a month or two. I have no idea, but I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
I mean, I do know that trying to get National Grid to move or change a light pole can be extremely challenging.
Okay.
Right. I plan on underground utilities.
Oh,
and I'm already in talks with National Grid about it.
Right. Yeah. So, but we can't really say, okay, so you have to put your electric box here because that's what you have to figure out with them for the most part, right?
Right. There's poles at each end of the property.
Yeah.
And they bring it in from a pole and then it goes into a conduit in the ground. And they put a transformer usually on one corner.
Okay.
And we put shrubs around it.
Yeah, currently, we're not showing the overhead, but it does come from this pole right here to the building. Overhead across the street, full aerial crossing all the way up to the building. And what we're proposing, which I've consulted with an electrical engineer who's expert in these matters. I'm going to drop some creds here to my wife, Lisa Hermano. She used to work for the electric company. So
you're gonna be busier now. You put that on, TV here. Right?
I have to give her credit because
on this popular TV show that's just you're gonna be famous pretty soon, I think.
Full disclosure, me and electricity, we don't know each other very well, so I consult with my wife. We're hoping the electric company agrees that a crossing right here, which does not cross anyone else's property boundary, will make it to this riser pole that we're going to set, and from there everything would be underground. So you'll have less aerial obstruction going to the new development, but currently the plan is to put it again aerially to this new pole right here. And then from there, everything else is underground.
Thank you for reviewing that with us. Okay.
I have just a curiosity question. What is the expected schedule for this building to be completed? What we are talking? 24 or 25?
No, I want 24 is my goal. 24 is definitely my goal. You know, it depends on when we get started, but I'm ready to go. You know, once I get the plans approved and we're ready to go, we you know, I'd go before the building department, get the permits, and I'd start building.
Yeah, I was going to say we have to approve it first, and then the peer review has to finish up, right? So yeah.
yes. I'm saying from when I get approval. I mean,
okay, yeah.
I think it would be, you know, a 10 to 12 month project.
Yeah. Great. All right. Well, thanks for all the information tonight. If you have any questions, give us a call. Otherwise, we're going to continue to the 4th, or do you need?
Peter, may
Yeah.
I want to suggest, the board had a lot of good comments. There are changes that they need to make to the plan in response to
Mhm.
that. It sounds like several of the comments would be incorporated into the decision as conditions.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there's going to be some additional work once the peer review has started.
Yeah.
But
Keep
so
changing,
that we
keep
don't
changing.
have Mr. Adams continuing to come back, but
Mhm.
having to continue,
Yeah,
Bill,
right.
realistically, what do you think?
Yeah, Mr. Adams, Mr. Hermano, do you concur with that? Do you feel like 2 meetings out is a better option for you?
I don't know how fast the peer review is
Mhm.
gonna take and come back to us.
Mhm.
But I estimate I would need comfortably a week to prepare properly, as we're talking about a few other things here. I know Mr. Adams would like it to be 2 weeks, but I'm gonna be a realist and
Yeah.
say that it won't
Okay, but
happen.
yeah,
in
with,
2
with the
weeks.
holiday, then December 4th, this doesn't sound that realistic, right? Yeah, okay.
Right.
And Stephanie, what's the next date after that one? Or Suzanne?
Suzanne, do you have the?
Yes, December 18th
And then
Yeah.
what's the
and then
January meeting?
January 8th.
Okay, now the board member is gonna be available for that one if we're ready to kind of get this moving along for them. Just with the holiday, with Christmas so close out, of the holidays that is so close. Yeah, I'm planning to be around that week, so that's one. Robert, thumbs up there. All right. I just didn't want, sometimes it ends up 3 and then you think, oh, it's not, that doesn't, one person missed a meeting and then you run into some trouble, but it sounds like that's good. So we could make a motion to that effect. If we wanted to.
What, motion to continue to December 18th, is that the?
Good, sir. Yep. Mhm.
Stetson.
Adam second.
Okay, all in favor, Stetson,
Aye.
Kadam,
Aye.
Kid.
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
and DeShane, aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. ladies
Thank
and
you very
gentlemen.
much, everybody.
Have a good
Good
holiday.
evening.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, bye, thank
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving.
Okay, okay, now we have something new. A public hearing for definitive subdivision 149 Lincoln Street, Carter Estates, T&M Realty and Development. Looks like you already had some people promoted for this. All right, whoever's going to start off with the applicant, just name and address for the record, please.
Oh, and Peter, the public hearing notice.
And Bob, public hearing notice, please.
Yeah, where, Suzanne, did you send that
It's-
to me?
No, but it's in the binder. Stephanie could put it on the screen.
I'm sorry. Oh, yes, hold on.
It's in the binder.
Page 17.
Uh,
got it. All
Thank
right.
you.
Got it, thank you.
You've got it? Sorry.
I've got it, no problem. In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 41, Section 81T, Mass General Laws, the Easton Planning and Zoning Board will hold a public hearing on Monday, November 20th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. to be held remotely on the application received from T&M Realty and Development for a definitive subdivision for the creation of 3-lot subdivision at 149 Lincoln Street, to be known as Carter Estates. This meeting will be conducted remotely via Zoom. The virtual meeting link will be contained within the posted agenda at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting. Copy of the application and plan may be viewed on the town website. This notice is also available at masspublicnotices.org. Peter DeShane, Chair.
Great, thanks. All right, now we can have an applicant introduce themselves for the record.
Hi, folks. My name is Tom Pazerski. I am one of the engineering directors at Merrill Engineers. I will be representing Mark Perrin from T&M Realty, who is also on the phone. Can everybody hear me and see the screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so this is the definitive subdivision. It is located at 149 Lincoln Street. This is the existing conditions plan. I'll talk a little bit about the existing conditions. It's an existing home out front, number 149, which is considered, the Historic Commission considered that property be significant and to be preserved. These green areas or gravel areas.
Can I ask you if I interrupt, please zoom in a little bit. Some of us are on laptops and
Sure.
can't see anything. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's great.
Go out one more time. Can everybody see that?
Good for me.
Okay. So this is the existing home that's going to be preserved here. These are some gravel paths and areas that have historically been present on the site. There's an existing depression in the front. You can see we've done a whole variety of test pits that were witnessed by the Board of Health on the property here. ECR Environmental did a wetlands delineation here, and there's a wetlands and an intermittent stream. And you can see this is the limits of the 200-foot jurisdiction here, which you'll see on the other plans. There's a 100-foot zone, the 100-foot buffer zone, and then there's other associated zones by the Conservation Commission. You can see on here, this is the lotting sheet. We have proposed drainage easement down in the front here, and then this lot is being preserved. We initially had 4 larger lots, and then the Historic Commission asked for this to be preserved. So our client went before the Historic Commission, and the house was voted to be preserved on August 24th, 2022. And then they went before the Zoning Board of Appeals to have this 12,000. Zoom in a little bit, it's a little busy here, sorry about that. Just want to make it easy on you. To have this particular lot preserved. And then we have the other 3 lots here. The benefit of this is it did shorten the road up quite a bit. And we have 3 residential homes here. They will be serviced by on-site sanitary disposal systems. This is in the Aquifer Protection District, so we're very careful to take care and make sure that we keep the septic systems away from the intermittent stream, and this is where the area begins as part of the watershed. And our main stormwater basin is located in the front here. We have good management practices. We're taking clean roof runoff, segregating it, they're sized for the 100-year storm, and they are discharging into dry wells. The main stormwater basin comes down through here, it's captured in these 2 catch basins, enters into a hydrodynamic separator for treatment, and then discharges into a sediment trap. And we have a leaching basin for wicking in here for the winter time. A little bit about this basin here. Under the 100-year Cornell rainfalls, and John Chess here is reviewing the submittal for stormwater compliance. This holds about 6,000 cubic feet of water on the 100-year event storm. There's also about 19,000 cubic feet of storage in here, so it has a tremendous amount of storage in here, triple of what is required during the 100-year event there. The other thing is we're showing is light poles here, here, and here, and then also for the new home here, and a new driveway here. And we find that's best, especially with a small residential neighborhood such as this, to just have the lights on the property. I'll show you the light poles that we're proposing. They will be dark sky compliant, and we do need to get a lighting plan. We do need to get a landscaping plan complete for this proposal. The width of the right-of-way we are proposing is 30 feet wide with 18 feet of pavement and no sidewalk. It's a very small road. It's 288 feet to the center here. We have an existing hydrant that's located down the bottom. And then there's another hydrant about 342 feet or so away. We provided to you a full narrative on the project about the benefits of to the community. Part of those benefits are parcel A and B in the back here are going to be preserved in perpetuity as open space to provide a buffer to the wetlands area. You're going to have very low traffic volumes from this. It's going to be 38, 40 vehicles a day from these homes. We don't have any indications there aren't any adequate utilities here. The homes are going to be built in the same character of the homes in the area, similar to Aspen Hollow Drive. And the fiscal impacts are additional tax revenue to the town for the homes. Generally, the topography, there's a hill up here and then things shed away from the hill. And we've taken care to make sure that all the roadway runoff ends up down here. We didn't have any problems with soils. All the groundwater is 4 feet or more below the treatment devices, to include down here at the low point. The site is not within an endangered species habitat. All of the future homes will comply with zoning, the lots as proposed, except for this lot, which was approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals, comply with the dimensional requirements for zoning. All the lots will comply with the current IBC codes. Some of the waivers. We are seeking a waiver from section 50112 to complete a preliminary plan for aquifer protection zone. The reason why we're seeking for that is our client did put quite a bit of work and effort into this particular project and working with the town to mold it, change it. He changed it several times to this particular product here, to include completing soil exams up front in advance, having them witnessed, completing preliminary septic designs to make sure they would fit on the lot and the homes, completing the stormwater management design. He spent a lot of money up front trying to get this stuff done to make sure we have a workable proposal here and something that complies with, we respectfully submit, and John will tell us, with the stormwater regulations and DEP stormwater regulations for the zone that it's in. There's another section that requires section 50121 for a 20-foot wide easement at the end of the cul-de-sac for continuation of pedestrian traffic. That's really not realistic because of the slopes and because of the wetland resource area out back. And then these are all developed lots that Aspen Hollow is on the other side of the wetlands and it sheds this way. So it doesn't really serve a lot of purpose to do that. And the same holds true for continuing a 30-foot wide easement in the back for continuation of the roadway or easement. It's an intermittent stream that's protected. It's an aquifer protection area. Commission would never approve it. DEP wouldn't approve it. We're better off protecting the natural resource areas down the back here, and we've done so. Table 50121, street design standards. Again, that talks about the 30-foot wide layout as opposed to the 35-foot. We are respectfully seeking not to put a sidewalk in here. We would rather have a grass landscaped area in here instead of a sidewalk. It's a very short roadway. Water lines, there shall be a minimum of 2 hydrants in any subdivision 500 feet apart. As I stated, from across the street on Lincoln Street, there's a hydrant right there, and we have a hydrant 342 feet away. So we do meet that requirement. There's also another requirement that we loop the water main, and they have to be 400 feet apart. There really isn't, we don't have 400 feet of width. We have developed properties all around us, so there's no means realistically to loop the water main. And on top of that, we would destroy a lot of the natural vegetation that's going to be preserved, which the Conservation Commission liked. And then there shall be no dead-end water mains in the subdivision, which I've talked about. We provide you solar orientation on the project. I think we've achieved that as best as we could with the configurations that we have. And like I said, we will provide a photometric plan. I'll go down a little further in the plan after that. We need to show the location of centralized mailboxes, which we will do. We are committed to a dark sky compliant lighting system. There is some concerns over the road name. It's similar to another road in town, so we would have to evaluate that with the client, getting a new name that's not as close to Owl Ridge Road. As I've said, that John Chessier is reviewing the stormwater. We will get a landscaping plan. I already talked about the waivers. I talked about the Historic Commission. As far as the stormwater management system is concerned, we have shown compliance with the stormwater standards to include 44% treatment of TSS prior to discharging. We have a during construction operation and maintenance plan, including in the submittal, and we have a long-term operations pollution prevention plan for maintaining the stormwater system in perpetuity. Now, let's just see what else if we have to talk about. There's your profile. You can see the low point is at the catch basins here. We're sloping it away from Lincoln Street itself. This is an example of a dark spine fixture. So we can go ahead and, if you guys like the concept of having the light poles on the lot, and then we'll pick out the lights and we'll get the lighting pole done. You can see we have full erosion controls. We're proposing a stop sign at the entrance. You have a typical roadway cross section here with the 18 feet of pavement, 12-foot Cape Cod berm, and we will have 5 foot of grass strip on each side. And I think that's pretty much wraps up my presentation. I will be happy to address any questions, comments, or concerns.
Great, thanks. What's the in the back? What's the credit land for 149 Lincoln Street?
Oh, yeah. One other thing too is there was a comment on that I forgot to mention. Is the Conservation Commission has approved this project, and there's no DEP order of conditions because the work is for the local bylaw, which is the intermittent order of conditions. We have 2 permits, permit number 1825 and 1826, that were issued by the commission on 10/11/2023, and they're recorded, and I can more than happily provide those to the planner. Now, the land credit land here is something that is used to protect the watershed if you want to try to put some up-to-date on-site septic systems. One of the land credits was done for a property across the street where they put a new septic system in, but it was a substandard size lot. So we're preserving this area, which is actually better to do it this way because it's right next to the resource area. And this other area is, this has a cesspool. So this is going to need upgrading here. So we're going to upgrade this system and then preserve the natural area there. So Title V allows us to do this, and this has been approved by the Board of Health many times. It's a very common practice. It's not a common practice, but you can run into it. And it's a good way to protect water resource areas.
Mm-hmm. Great, thanks for the explanation. Stephanie, did you have some comments here?
Yep, and I think a lot of them have been addressed, but let me just quickly go through it. Let's see, confirm that. Then the existing hydrant directly across from the future roadway. My comment was that we had not received the comments from the fire department as yet. And it was suggested that the applicant speak directly with the department as to whether they request the planning board grant the waiver for the hydrant as noted in their comment below, or the applicant seek the waiver directly from the fire department. So I'm not sure whether that is a waiver that has to be sought directly from the fire department, is the long and short of that.
It seems like that would be the right group to give a waiver for that, right? Yeah, and then we just kind of go
Right.
along, right? So yeah.
Right, because the planning board wouldn't. And then regarding the loop, we didn't receive comments back yet from the water division. I did not have a chance to look today. I reached out again directly to ask that they submit a comment, but again, we need them to weigh in on whether they're, I think the applicant makes a very good case for why it should be waived, but we really want the water department to weigh in on that. And then my last suggestion was, this is a small subdivision. And again, they're asking for waivers from some of the standards, and the board may want to consider suggesting that the road be a private way.
Yep, good point there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just kind of update, like maybe some of the newer board members, is that I think this group they had talked to the former planning board chair, and kind of this whole kind of everything kind of got in motion here, where they were going to preserve that with the historical commission, preserve that existing home. That's like the old gray house that you've probably noticed before. And then, seek the variance from the Board of Appeals, et cetera, so that we could keep that old historical house and then still build 3 more lots here. So sometimes like that, I think, the lot in the back, right? I don't have the numbers in front of me, but, we might look at that frontage and think, what are they doing there? But, the applicant, met with various of our, board, departments and, board members or commission members and kind of came up with this idea here. So I don't think that frontage is really a problem given the history of this project. Does anyone have any comments here?
Just one question for me. In terms of did you take a look at the sight lines? And in particular, I'm thinking of when these big Amazon trucks are leaving, just noticing that that historical home is kind of uptight up on Lincoln Street. Did you take a look at the sight lines to see if there would be, adequate visibility of?
Yes, I did. And I personally did it. So what we have, and the one that's the biggest concern is if you're exiting the subdivision, looking to your left or east, down towards the church area. Yeah, and that sight line there is 434 feet, so it does meet the required standards there. And then looking to the right, it's just ridiculously long there. It's well over 1,200, 1,300 feet.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, trying to cross over to the town pool on a bike or walking is a different story there, but yeah, that one. But good question. Anyone else? No. Well, this is going to be pretty straightforward here. It sounds like so. Stephanie, we need to get a few more answers for some things. So we maybe.
Well, they need to wrap up their stormwater review, and I would suggest to Mr. Pazerski that again, like I did for 523 Foundry Street, that when you receive your comments back from Mr. Cheshire, that if you have questions, concerns, or clarification, let's get a meeting together. We can do that over the phone, do it via Zoom. You can do it in person. I don't know if John's doing things in person, but to help expedite it, make sure you understand any of the comments, and if you want to make a case for why something's being done the way you're proposing it, but just to keep things moving along.
Right. Oh yeah, I just have a question though. Is the possibility of this remaining a private road, is that acceptable to the applicants? Or
I have to talk that over with Mark. I don't know if he's on the phone here. He said he was going to be, but I want to take these comments and discuss them with him tomorrow.
Oh, there he is.
He was here.
I kept.
He's been promoted for like an hour. Yeah.
I just allowed him to speak.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we're trying to keep you out of the meeting there. Go ahead if you want to talk about that.
Hi, Mark Perrin, T&M Realty Corp. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So obviously I would, Tom, I appreciate your thoughts there in relation with the asking about private, but I have to talk to Thomas about that also. We've done so many private roads in town. I don't foresee that being a potential problem, but I certainly need to confer with Tad and you, Tom, about that prior to the next meeting.
Yeah.
And then if I could just add on that, Mark, if you're agreeable to that, then as part of the decision, one of the conditions would be all the documents, in the homeowners association and all of that for the maintenance of the road. So.
Right, which Tad/Thomas and I have dealt with several times, but so we definitely would want to confer. Obviously, we're not trying to get a vote tonight. Obviously, we're waiting for the peer review, and just as Tom had mentioned during his presentation, just important that we took the time, and Stephanie was involved in a couple of meetings, and that's why I appreciate what you said about the peer review. Once Tom gets those comments, it's nice to be able to meet prior to the next formal meeting. So we can all try to get to an understanding and meet all the criteria that needs to be. And if there's any questions from my engineer in relation to the peer review, that we get it resolved before the meeting. And so that's why it's appreciated that way. But, you know, we're excited to move this forward. You know, and again, so in relation to the entire plan, and hence the Conservation Commission already approving us, and as Tom said, technically the road was out of the jurisdiction. There is no DEP permit, and we've already got individual order conditions on lots 2 and 3 that were approved. And so
that might work better in this situation, right? Since the conservation was going to be kind of the limiting factor there, right? You want to get that figured out before you show us.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's why
Usually that's the first question the planning board asks if you've been through conservation.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
site's very particular. you know.
Yeah, and we don't want to put like the private road thing, like, oh well, no sidewalk, no no public road. We don't want to like do it like that way. I mean, but we were just looking at the house at the end of a dirt road, right? So, but if it works for you guys, that would be good for us.
And one last point on my end is, like I said, with a couple of informal but on-site meetings with both Stephanie, Greg Strange, the chairman at the time when we were looking at this before we did all the perks in September of 23. The waivers were requested and what was technically suggested by the former chair of especially where he was also a member of the Historic Commission.
Yep.
And hence we worked directly with both the historic and the planning to get ideas of how do we make this move forward quicker, meeting all the criteria. And that's why we came up with a few different things, like the suggestion of the 30-foot right of way versus 35. And I think, Peter, you had mentioned that, but I just want to make sure that these waivers were something, again, and as Tom presented it, said in his presentation, it is a very short road servicing really 3 lots, even though the historic house is going to still be serviced off this new road. So,
I think I know you talked to Greg about this stuff, but I think you kind of met with the planning board itself, like in a real meeting, like just like kind of go over the concept to make sure it wasn't just kind of Greg speaking for the rest of us. So
we did, and again, it was very appreciative, to be able to meet on site with a couple of departments, even the conservation, before we file formally with the conservation, just so we got everything out and we try to move the ball forward instead of wasting everybody's time, for a meeting and then have it continued all the time. So that's where we're at, and I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you. So that sounds like we're going to continue to not the 8th, but to the whatever date that was, the
18th.
Oh, the 18th.
Yes,
December
please.
18th.
Okay, so is there a motion to continue to the 18th?
So moved, Stetson.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, Kid? Kathy, Kid, are you in favor of continuing? Oh, well, we'll let her get settled.
Yes.
Okay, yep, Nikki Wolf, are you in favor?
Yes, aye.
Yes, Amos Kedem, are you in
Aye.
favor? Robert Stetson?
Aye.
And Peter Duchesne, I am in favor as well. So, okay, see you guys in a few weeks.
Okay, thank you,
Contact
Mr.
or whatever.
Chairman, and I want to thank the planning and conservation staff. They've been very helpful working us through this process and trying to get everything designed appropriately and protect the environment. Thank you very much.
Yep, thanks. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, that looks like it concludes our public hearings for the day, except that we're going to talk about some zoning. If I can.
I think next on the agenda is the vote to release surety.
Yeah, okay, let's move on to that since my escape button's not working. I can't get back to the agenda.
Okay.
Well, I figured that out. You can give us an update, please.
All right, so the board members should know by now that the roads associated with Barron Estates, Barron Drive and Cooper Lane were accepted at town meeting last week. So the next step is to get the deeds signed at the select boards meeting, which will be, I think we're on the agenda or I've asked to be on the agenda for the 4th to get that done. And as such, Mr. Koska is requesting a release of the surety that was cash. We're holding, let's see, Suzanne, it's around $126,000.
152. 152, I believe.
Okay.
Yep, 152,000 and change.
And
plus interest, or
Our,
is that like accruing interest daily, or do we just like, you already have a number, or how's that work?
that does accrue interest. So I mean, whatever is remaining is what would finally be
Yeah,
released.
so we can just say the remaining funds and then the treasurer will
Well,
figure that. Yeah. No,
We
no,
were going through our road acceptance processes today, and it does state that the surety should be released after there's evidence of the deed being recorded is provided. My recommendation at this point, the road's been accepted, we know it's in good condition, we know that Mr. Koska is anxious to turn it over to the town, would be to maybe hold back a portion of that until the deed's recorded, or again, because our process states it, but it's not in the rules and regulations, so
So
I will leave it to the board.
what we are voting for?
what do we do, like do like 100,000 and then like keep the other 40 until everything's completely wrapped
Yeah.
up? Or-
And I think the board could vote that to release that amount, and then upon evidence of recording that we can release the rest, so you don't have to vote on it
I
again.
think 40 whatever thousand is plenty of funds to
I would agree.
to motivate someone to file a deed. Mr.
Right.
Costa, are you here with us? Is that agreeable? Oh, is he promoted? Oh, is he not even here?
He's not here.
Oh, he's not even here. Well,
No, I don't see him here
well, we
tonight.
don't know if that's acceptable. If he thought 140 was like a shoo-in, and now I guess he knows he didn't do the deed, right? So I
Mhm.
don't know. What do you think? Everyone else?
No idea.
I mean, how quickly is it? How quickly is the turnaround on the recording?
So if the select board vote to sign it on the 4th, they will sign it within the next few days. And then he'd pick it up and he can go right down and record it and come back with the stamped, the affirmation that it's been recorded.
All right. I mean, I think it's fine. I think to do, he gets 100 now and then the rest, 2 weeks from
Right,
now.
yeah. I mean, if he really wanted the 140, he would have come here and told us that, right?
I
But
agree.
he's not here, so I guess he wants it, but it's not that important. Okay, so we can do we'll do 100 now, and then we'll make a vote, say 100 now, and then we can vote on the other 40, whatever, plus interest, just by
Well, and then the
motion, right?
remainder,
Yeah.
once he's provided evidence to the planning office of the
So-
recording.
Yes, of the recording of the deed, yeah.
So motion to release $100,000 now and the remainder upon proof of recording of the deed. Stetson.
Head and second.
Okay, all in favor, Stetson,
Aye.
Tatum,
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Kid?
Aye.
Shane, aye. Okay, that passes, and I can now view the agenda again, so really moving along now. Okay, we have the community housing zoning, MBTA communities, zoning bylaw and map amendments. This is a continued public hearing from a little ways back.
Yeah.
So let's get it started.
Well, so Peter, what I was just planning on tonight is giving an update to the board. At the last meeting, we mentioned that we were going to be submitting the draft zoning along with the 3 districts that are under consideration to the Department of, it's the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. As part of the pre-adoption process, where primarily what we're asking them to do is to review the language, make sure that looks fine, and that there are no big red flags that we need to be concerned about. We don't want to get to town meeting, and if this is the districts are voted or the district is voted, then to learn later on that the HLC had problems with some of the zoning. So that's for the language. And we want them to review our compliance model to make sure that when we made adjustments to it, that we did it properly and correctly. And that will be helpful knowing as we move forward and refine those districts and sub-districts.
Yep.
So we did submit that, and we've done a follow-up email just asking if they could give us a time frame when we can expect to hear a response, and let them know that if they see something immediately that they feel problematic, to get in touch with us immediately so we can address that and talk about it in the meeting. Then we had planned a public meeting for December, and Peter and I have been talking about that, and because we've received a lot of feedback so far from the folks in the Furnace Village District, what we're planning on doing is a session with those folks, and we're working with Dale Carister to arrange that meeting. So that would be sometime probably early to mid-December.
Yep. Yeah. So if anyone that wants to join, you're welcome. But otherwise,
Just one quick question. I know on the language, we kind of modeled our, I can't remember if it was Lexington or Arlington.
Yep.
Did the HLC get back to them on their proposed language yet?
They have not, from what we've heard, they have not approved anybody as yet.
Okay.
It might be just because it's so new too, right? Like once they have a few, then
Yeah.
everyone's just gonna piggyback on that if it
Right.
works for them right
And,
now.
and what I was told today, it sounds like they've received a lot of pre-approval requests for review from the transit, the rapid transit communities who have to have their zoning adopted by the end of the year. And that's where they're putting their focus right now. And like the other communities like Lexington aren't rapid transit communities, so that they're probably a little bit on hold.
Got it.
I mean, we're hoping that they break that kind of logjam and get through that, especially with the end of the year coming up pretty quickly, so that we can get some timely response as well.
Yeah, so maybe just like for the board members, you know, you can just kind of rather than me and Stephanie sound like broken records, where I'd rather have a few less and she wants a little more. Like just think about, like, you know, we have 3 zones, and think about, you know, how many units, you know, potential units you think is the right fit for our town based on where we are with this, right? So I mean, let's not talk about it with the let's not reiterate our opinions once again for like the 50th time. Let's just let the board members kind of, as time goes by, we'll get some town input, and we'll have the board members tell us what they think, and then we'll move on. Okay, is that acceptable?
Yep, sounds good.
And the input from the communities is really important.
Yeah.
So my suggestion is, because we opened the public hearing so we could get this moving forward, and you know, we've given ourselves plenty of time between now and town meeting. My suggestion is, so that, and we're going to continue the outreach project, we'll give you updates on that, but the formal hearing, my suggestion would be probably to continue it to the middle or end of January, because I don't think that the board, until we hear more from the public, we'll be working on the districts.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting at. It's just like, right, yeah, like why should you and I just bother keep saying the same thing when we have to talk to some more townspeople, get some more get their opinion, and then we'll take it from there. So yeah, great. Did any attendants have a question about that?
I have a question to Stephanie, maybe. One of the arguments you received from the public has to do with traffic.
Yep.
My question is there any traffic studies
for
106 or even 138 to bring some data instead of being based on opinions?
So one of the things we want to do at the meeting with the Furnace Village group is bring in like someone like Dave Field who can talk to that and answer that question and make suggestions. I mean, one of the things we could do is, but I think this has been done in the past, Amos, but I don't know how frequent recently, is I can reach out to the Old Colony Planning Council to see if they've done traffic counts on that road.
Because we haven't offered those resources from some higher up people at town hall there, right? So I mean, if it's something that we feel like we need to do, then you know we can look into that. But we'll start with OCPC right now. So
Well, I think it's very relevant for that study to be up to date. And I don't know if you travel that road very often, but it is significant, the change on traffic on that road, especially 106, 123 there. You really feel it. It's significant.
Right, I know, it's like the people that live there say it, you know, Amos is saying it, and people, you know, a lot of us, some of us might think, oh, I drive there and it's not
Well,
bad.
might be an opinion,
Right, yeah.
might
but
be
I-
an opinion, but if there is data on the study of traffic, they will say this rush hours is.
No,
when
I
you
know,
do
yeah, I don't
that.
like, I don't like when those conversations go, well, it's just, it's like, you know, a family's just gonna have a couple trips a day and this and that, right, yeah, let's just get some data, then we'll know what we're looking at, right?
Yeah, if there is something, and that's something that maybe David Field can provide.
Otherwise,
Something.
it's too easy
And
to
can
kinda
answer
take-
that
it's
question.
too easy to just take whatever numbers you want to like to reinforce your own view of something, right? So you have to just like have like, yeah, to make it a little more independent and get real data like Amos is talking about.
Yep.
Cool. So we still have not, was that, I guess that's all, unless anyone else.
Oh,
wanted
we
to-
need to continue the hearing though to a
Oh,
date certain.
okay.
So Suzanne, what are the middle of January date?
So there's January 8th and January 29th. And then February 12th.
That's too late.
No, I'll be back then, right? Yeah, that's after the kids' vacation, so.
I'm sorry, was that the 8th?
Yeah, it's in our binder because we're gonna. talk
No,
about
I'm
that.
sorry, I was
Right.
asking Peter. I thought he-
How about the following one? How about the later January?
29th.
Yes, 'cause if anyone's like me, that those first couple of weeks of the new year are a very busy time for a lot of things, including work.
Yeah, I also, I'm going to be away in February for good 3 weeks.
Gotcha. Cool. That's
So the board needs to vote on that.
Yep. So the date of the second meeting in January was
The 29th.
29th. Okay, let's take a vote. Anyone want to make a motion to continue this public hearing to January 29th, 2024?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second, Stetson.
Okay, all in favor, Stetson,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Kid.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Shane, aye. All right, the meeting schedule, we've had that out there for a while, so does anyone have any problems with the meeting schedule, or can we approve that as it is? Kind of is what it is, right? Yeah, it's okay, you know, you can always take a night off if you need to for whatever you're doing, your family or your work or life, whatever, so. I guess we have to take a vote to accept the schedule.
Oh, motion to accept the schedule, Stetson.
Okay.
Kevin, second.
Okay, all in favor, Kid?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Get him.
Aye.
Stetson?
Aye.
And DeShane, aye. Next, we have some meeting minutes from November 6th. I did scan these quickly. I didn't see anything that jumped out at me.
Good by me.
Was that a motion, Get him?
Yeah, motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Kid.
Okay, all in favor, Wolf?
Aye.
Stetson?
Aye.
Good?
Aye.
Get him.
Aye.
Okay, and chair report. You know, I don't have anything planning related to report, but if anyone that doesn't know, we had a couple. We had the girls high school cross country won the state championships, and the boys soccer. So, and a lot of other teams went pretty far into the tournaments there. So, we'll congratulate our young athletes and thank all the townspeople for rooting on our teams. So my kids are in high school, by the way, not on the teams. All right. Next is planning director updates, signing documents.
Yes, several I'm going to say several months ago, not even several meetings ago, I think Bob Stetson, you asked the question about whether we could use DocuSign or some kind of electronic signing for the decisions and plans. I checked with town council. There's no reason on the decisions that we can't do that. The real question is on the plans and the registry of deeds. And I did talk with someone at the registry of deeds about this. And it's kind of a difficult scenario. And I don't know how we'd get the electronic signatures on the
Mylar.
documents, on the Mylars.
That wouldn't make any sense.
So, I mean, it is, I think it's a challenge for people to get in. I think you're doing a great job of trying to get in on a timely basis, but sometimes it's just not possible with everyone's busy schedules to get in super quickly. You can continue with this process and having people come in. Or you could go back, and this is what town council said, you could go back to having me sign for the documents. So the suggestion I had was maybe you issue far more decisions than you do decisions that the plans are required to be endorsed. We've been having the site plan documents endorsed, but they don't need to be because they don't get recorded. We like them endorsed because it indicates that that's the final plan. It's very clear and easy to see when you pull that plan up. So my suggestion would be that you could do the electronic signatures on the decisions, and that on these subdivision plans, which we get a lot fewer of, you could come in and sign on those plans. And then if I would just authorize to endorse the site plans.
I know I like it.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah, so there's that. I mean, there's also, if you remember how it worked when we were meeting in person, right? We occasionally would have to come into the town office to sign something that was, a little more time sensitive. But in general, we just signed them every 2 weeks. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, this person needs this because they need to go to the grocery store and stop by the town office on this day. Now, I mean, so it's a nice service that we're doing for people by getting it done so quickly, but it's just not. It seems like we've been coming a little more. Maybe it's good that we're doing that, right? So we're being quicker, even though it takes a little more of our time. But some of the new solutions might be helpful. So thank you. Stephanie, do you need a vote to change those procedures, or do you want to maybe put on the agenda?
You know me, I like, there's very little downside to taking a formal vote on something.
Yeah. So which ones do you want to sign first? Just subdivision?
Just the site plan reviews. You would come in and sign the subdivision documents, and then we do electronic signatures for the for the decisions themselves, the text documents.
Does the town already have a Zoom account, or what do we use? I'm just wondering.
I'll look into that. You can do it with the I think it's the // and the type names, but I don't know how we do that because we'd have to send, we could send a Word document around from one person to the other, and you can do it via email, and we then get
I think using
everyone. Or I can look into DocuSign and see how that would work. That's acceptable too.
It's like legal stuff, right? Don't you have to use like the authentication for legal type stuff? I think pretty much.
I will say the state uses DocuSign because that's how I sign grants.
They are now doing that, yes.
Yeah, the last round of cultural council grants just went through with DocuSign, and that seemed to work. It was a lot quicker.
Yeah, theoretically, it should be able to do a DocuSign to a document and put that document as a referent on the drawing and say, this plan was approved by this document.
Rather than signing each page. It's really the registry should, the registry of the state should just update their laws to make it more like up to date, right? Rather than have you guys sign every page, right? Yeah. If we could easily like initial the page and then sign like one cover sheet or something, right? So yeah.
Yeah, they could come up to the 21st century.
We're thinking big here. This is a little over our head now. I think we made some good progress here. So thanks for kind of getting us moving along on that. Again, Kathy, we
No,
talked about it, but we didn't really, yeah, nothing happened before.
So motion to have decisions being approved by Doku,
Mhm.
Doku, but then it's
DocuSign.
DocuSign, and plans we will come and sign on premises.
And Stephanie signs site plans too, right? Okay.
The ones that are site plan review or
Site plan,
the
site plan.
special permits that don't have plans, the plans associated with them that need to be filed.
Yeah, so move.
I would sign in the plans, not the decisions themselves.
Okay, I think that was sort of a motion, if there's a second.
There's a second.
Oh, you did, oh, sorry, all in favor, Tatum,
Aye.
good,
Excellent.
Wolf.
Aye.
And Stetson.
Aye.
Okay, Deshay and I, that concludes our meeting, tonight. So I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving and,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
A motion to adjourn.
yeah,
Motion to
yeah.
adjourn.
Second.
Yeah, enjoy, double,
okay.
double.
Thank you,
All in
everybody.
favor, Deshay and I, Wolf,
Oh,
Aye.
good,
Happy
Aye.
Thanksgiving.
Aye.
Stetson, Tatum.
Aye. Happy
All right.
Thanksgiving all.
All right.
Yeah, yeah,
Bye-bye.
yeah, yeah,
Aye.
yeah, yeah.